Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. I'm Mike. Did it right that time. That's Evan. And today we'll be doing our 2025 Dynasty tight end rankings. We got rookies, we got vets, we got tiers. We have yogurt and banana all over me because I just finished giving my daughter dinner and putting her to bed. But this is going to be fun. Fun. That's a word.
I don't know. Some might say it's going to be tight.
Man, I need a boo button. But no, let's get into some Dynasty tight ends. I think the streets are wild. Last year, we had like 8 names that were put in the top, this is the Dynasty tight end 1. This is the Dynasty tight end 1. This year, I think there's 2 dudes. We're just going to jump right into it. I'm going to put Brock Bowers, tight end 1. He's scoring a bunch. He's super young. He's doing it on an offense that doesn't have a quarterback. If this offense gets even a little better, we're talking about a Kelsey run where he's just dominant for 7 years. Any notes on that, or you feel good about it?
No, I mean, I think Bowers is the tight end that everybody wants to pay up for. Everybody will pay up for right now. I think that's clearly reflected in his underdog price currently, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, you better hope they don't run the ball too much.
Yep, completely agree. Also, Pete Carroll, not exactly known for offenses that go to the tight end, but Bowers is a different kind of animal. I will say, so looking back at the 2024 class, is there anyone you would take over Brock Bowers? Let's say non-tight end premium, Superflex.
Oh, non-tight end, yeah. Non-tight end premium, I mean, it's pretty clear you take both of the wide receivers. You take Jaden Daniels. You can even make an argument for Caleb and Bo.
Okay. Let's see. So Brock Bowers last year scored 15.2 points per game, while Brian Thomas scored 16.7 and Malik Neighbors scored 18.2. So relative to his peer group, Bowers was better. But yeah, if it's not a premium, I understand that. I just think with how gross the tight end position is, there's an argument to be had. I'm on the same side as you, though. But let's keep going through this. We got at least 20 tight ends to get through.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm going to go second here and say Trey McBride. Mike, your ad here is going crazy. Like,
yeah, you like all that? You're welcome, tier maker. Look at all this ad space.
Man, look at that. Yeah, I mean, we're talking a tight end that was the clear number 1 in his offense, in an offense that had Marvin Harrison Jr. He was still the clear number 1. 147 targets this past season.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't go down in 2025. There's no reason for it to dip. Touchdowns, that's about the only thing that could go up.
Would love some.
Would really appreciate Trey McBride scoring some touchdowns this year. Even if you give me 5, like I'm not asking for much. Just fill up one hand. Let me be able to count on all 5 fingers that I have on my left hand over here, and be happy.
Yep, I don't think you're asking for too much, but it's also the Cardinals, so I wouldn't hold your breath. Is there anyone else you want to put in the elite tier?
No, nobody else deserves to be in the elite tier, Mike.
Well, let's slide on up to the solid tier. I'm just going to take a little layup. Sam Laporta. Yes, it was a down year for him. I understand that. I understand people are grumpy, but he still finishes the tight end 8. He's on a good offense. He's super young. He can score a bunch of touchdowns. We saw as a rookie. It's probably not going to happen at that clip often, but year after year, you feel like you have a plug-and-play startable tight end. And that's good enough for me. Who you got next?
So makes total sense. I'm going to go with the rookie. I'm going to go with Tyler Warren in the solid tier. This is obviously a talent location. We don't know at this time what the draft capital is going to be or what the landing spot's going to be. Obviously, that will play a role in his ability to be able to score fantasy points. But from a talent perspective, he is right up there with Sam Laporta. He is a unicorn And there are some other tight ends that could be considered in this tier as well from this draft. So it's definitely a tight end draft.
Yep. Tyler Warren already tight end 6 from our friends over at Fantasy Calc, which is taking real startup ADP trade data and things like that. We go ahead. I'm going to take another I think this is a layup. Look, you want the guy the year after the injury. So give me Hawkinson. It's a good offense. Kevin O'Connell rules. I think JJ McCarthy is good. Did a film study on him before the draft. Rookie season didn't go how we wanted it to, but I want every offensive piece in that system. So give me the tight end. Give me the 2 wide receivers. If a running back goes there, we'll argue about whether that's a good landing spot or not. But it's a good offense to get pieces from for fantasy football. Give me Hawk. Who you got next?
All right. We're going to also put Colson Loveland in this tier. He should already be right up there. Mike, obviously, you can inform everybody on what his fantasy calc numbers are right now. But we're talking a guy that played in the Michigan offense. He knows how to play a pro-style offense. He knows how to block, even though he really shouldn't be used too much as a blocker. He is a viable blocker, though. But he is a true wide receiver that is in a tight end's body. He has all of the receiving abilities of a wide receiver with the frame of a tight end. Production-wise, you're talking a guy that was almost a third, if not a little over a third, of Michigan's total receiving yards, total passing offense this year in less than a full slate of games. I mean, regardless of what you think, the numbers really weren't there from a total production standpoint, but on a per game of the offense production standpoint, he was incredible.
Yeah. No pushback, no feedback. I think it's going to be cool to see landing spots and how much that impacts how confident we are in each of these guys. Whichever one goes to the Chargers, to the moon. To the moon. In the solid tier, so we didn't talk about this before the show. Let's do the pod on the pod. Are we going to try to keep our 2-4-8 rule going? Are we saying that is the end of the solid tier?
I don't know. I personally have one more in that tier.
Is it this one?
I don't know. I legitimately can't see who that is.
That is Mark Andrews.
Oh, no, it's not Mark Andrews.
Is it David Njoku?
No.
Is it George Kittle?
There you go. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Well, I'm glad I picked George Kittle. If you want points now, this is one of your best options. Ayuk still coming back from injury. Ricky Pearsall didn't show anything to show that he's going to be a target monster. Debo could be traded. Look, I get it. He's 31 and a half. He's a crusty old boy. But he also is one of the guys that could finish as the tight end 1 in any given season, and I just want to hold on to those guys. So
yeah, when he plays, he scores a ton of fantasy points.
Enough
bet, Mike.
I would like to add a row below.
Ooh, okay.
And we're gonna call it win now buys. And it's gonna be George Kittle, Mark Andrews,
and David Njoku.
That is a great man. Any feedback, complaints? I think they're all undervalued, like right now in fantasy calc.
Sure.
George Kittle, he's the tight end 4, so maybe he's not like a super value. Mark Andrews, tight end 8. David Njoku, tight end 11. But when you're looking at some of the position players that are going around him, like, would you rather have Mark Andrews or Ricky Pearsall? Like, would you rather have Mark Andrews or A.D. Mitchell into third?
Like, oh boy,
what are we doing here, folks?
What is happening?
What are we doing? So, big fan of all 3 of those guys. I think it'll be valuable for years to come. Let's get gross. Evan, give us some startable tight ends for Dynasty Fantasy Football.
Oh, boy. Mike, we're going to go with my snaps king in K. Dotton.
Yes, the snap. As soon as I said that, he ended up finishing the season as like the tight end 5 or something.
So, yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? He played, looking at this past season, oh, man, a ton of snaps per game.
That's all he's good for.
What a shocker. He also led all tight ends in snaps per game in 2024 at 61.1 snaps per game. Look, it's
but
the
how many
same
points did he
analysis.
score?
It's the same analysis that it was before. If you're playing snaps on the field, you have a chance to touch the football. If you touch the football, you're probably getting fantasy points.
I have a real question for you.
Okay.
With Chris Godwin going down, we saw a big bump for Auden. Do you think that role is going to continue? Do you think they bring Godwin back? Like, where do you think Auden still has a chance to go higher in these rankings? Because we're talking about a guy still 26 years old.
No, Auden is pretty stuck where he is. From an athletic profile, he's just not an elite enough athlete to be able to push himself higher in these ranks. I do believe, from what the rumors are, that Chris Godwin is going to stay. We'll see how that actually pans out as the offseason continues to progress. But obviously, if Godwin comes back, Jalen McMillan, Mike Evans, still there.
Yep.
That's a lot of mouths to feed in any offense. But, he's still a target in the red zone. 4 touchdowns this last year, averaged 10 points per game. Like Mike said, a lot of that production came in the part where Chris Godwin was down. But double digits, that would put him right around the bottom end of a tight end 1 in points per game.
He was exactly the tight end 12.
Okay, there we go.
So I am going to put forward the tight end 13 in points per game. I'd like to play a quick game with you. Who was older between Auden and Freiermuth?
Auden.
Freiermuth by 2 months.
Okay.
Who had more targets?
Are you messing? It's got to be Auden, right?
Auden had more targets. Freiermuth had more catches. Freiermuth had more yards. Freiermuth had a couple more touchdowns. It's just they're the same player. It's 9.9 versus 10 points per game. They're both almost exactly 26 years old. They're both on offenses that we don't really know what they're going to look like, whether it's because of the Chris Godwin thing or the entire Steelers offense thing. They're startable. If you have them, you're looking to upgrade, but you're also not bottoming out. Cool. Who you got next?
I would just like to say I think that is a Steelers homer pick for you, Mike. But I'm okay with it because he also went to Penn State. So it's a Penn State homer pick that I can back.
I just explained exactly why he's the same player as Auden.
Yeah. But Cade Otton's been my boy for the last 3 seasons.
They're fantasy football twins.
They're
twins.
Okay, whatever. Startable. It feels gross, but the potential has always been there. It's still there. Call it artificial dynasty value. Call it whatever you want to call it. But Kyle Pitts in the startable category. You hold your nose and you just kind of eat what's in front of you. And Kyle Pitts is on the field as a superb athlete. Just maybe the quarterback changes something. I don't know. It's really hard to see the premier talent just be absolutely wasted. So
if you believe in athleticism, unrealized potential, hopium in all of its glory, go get Kyle Pitts. If you want way more fantasy points and the same age, just go get you some Tucker Kraft.
Oh boy.
He is scoring more and is the same age. Why are we not ranking him ahead of Kyle Pitts?
Oh boy, Tucker Kraft. Because the entire offense for the Green Bay Packers
is ridiculous.
That can catch a football is a bunch of Jags.
Whoa. But then I can name my dynasty team Kraft Mac and Cheese.
Right.
Worth it. instead of my team is the Pits.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, give us another one.
Let's see. Who do we want to go with next? Man, it starts drying up pretty quick around these parts.
We've still got this fella.
Let's go with Dalton Kincaid. He's going to hold his value in a startable category.
Oh, my Lord.
I know. But he still plays on the Bills. The Bills are an offense that everybody wants for fantasy. And he's going to be able to hold value because of that aspect right there. He's tied to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a quarterback that people love to believe in. People want to see succeed. They want to root for the Buffalo Bills. Look, the athleticism still the same as when he got drafted. The production is still the same as when he got drafted. There has been nothing that is so inspiring about Dalton Kincaid for him to be ranked as high as fantasy gamers put him. So if you can probably pivot right now. Check me on this fantasy calc. You could pivot to David Njoku from Dalton Kincaid.
According to fantasy calc, absolutely, and you can get a plus on top. And I'm taking Njoku every day of the week.
Yes, I am right there with you, Mike. But it is the age item that plays into this. Dalton Kincaid is still a little youngling, still 25, I think, if I'm remembering correctly here. Okay, cool. Still tied to the Bills offense, still has Josh Allen. Those are all things the fantasy gamers want to have hope about.
Yeah.
So if you have hope, and I have Dalton Kincaid, please offer me your David Njoku because I will happily accept that trade.
Oh, brother. Okay. I am going to go the exact opposite way. I think we've let this go long enough. Look, if he plays, he's good. Maybe he retires. Maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't retire, he's probably a tight end one again. He's probably the number 1 or number 2 target in the Chiefs offense. I think it's worth the risk at this price right now. Like, let the smokescreen season happen. If you're rebuilding, the moment the season kicks off, brother, get him off your roster. But if I'm contending, I'm going to let him retire on my roster and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those players that you just say thank you for your service and you can retire on my roster. I will enjoy having all of the production of the last half a decade that he provided of very high end upside. And you'll say thank you and you'll move right along.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. You think you think there's any more in this startable tier here, Mike?
I actually was thinking about this. How much faith do we have in Ben Johnson?
Not enough.
Okay. How much faith do we have in our points per game king, Dallas Goedert? Top 10 in points per game again, baby.
Yeah, I mean, he does that every season, and he typically barely plays double-digit games.
He played 10 this year, so
barely played double-digit games.
Other ones we can bring to the table here. Maybe you feel good about Arroyo, Fannin, or Gunner. Sure. Maybe you feel good about Mason Taylor, who I don't have his picture loaded, but if you want to talk about him, we can. Dude, outside of this, Jonnu Smith.
Do you think about a bounce back season for Evan Ingram?
I have been pondering that. So my concern is that every single beats writer for the Jags has said that he's going to be cut.
Yep.
Which means that he's not going to be cut, and then he's going to be the tight end 3 next year. So
because Jags, that is just how the Jacksonville Jaguars operate.
I don't know what to do with Evan Ingram because he just I think he had the most targets for a tight end ever in 2023. And then in 2024, he was, where was he at? Let's see.
9 games played.
Yes, but in those 9 games,
It was like
he was
60
he
something
was
targets.
he was averaging 7 targets a game.
Yeah.
If you can give me a tight end that's going to average 7 targets a game, then I'm in. But like, I don't know. I think he's probably down a tier. So
Okay.
let's move on down now that we've talked about 5 guys.
All right, cool. So we're going into the streamable, and Evan Ingram's going to be there because of his past production. He is still a athletic tight end. He's still a move tight end. He's still one that can be deployed easily in the slot, easily running routes off the line with maybe a little chip, getting into his route. Somebody that you can get the ball into the flat and be able to get easy yards with. He's still that player. He's exactly what the Giants wanted when they drafted him. But the Giants have this way of just somehow helping players to not realize their talent when they're on the Giants. But then as soon as they leave, to miraculously realize that they're unshackled of the Giants' stink, of the Giants' just bowling ball that they carry around with them when you play for that team. And then they're magically just good at fantasy football and football, period.
I can't wait to see how good Malik Neighbors is if this is him on the Giants. Like, imagine him on, I don't know, like the Broncos or the Bills or any other team in the NFL other than like maybe the Raiders. But yeah, if Evan Ingram is on the Jags, he's probably up a tier. If he gets cut, landing spot dependent, maybe he even goes into the please help tier. But I would like to throw forward another name so I know, look, this is Jake Ferguson, but I uploaded this bad boy because this is the Cowboys way. Just whoever the hell the Cowboy like tight end is, that's the one you want. It could be Jake Ferguson. It could be Luke Schoonmaker. It can be Dalton Schultz a couple of years ago. Just whoever is starting at tight end with Dak Prescott, just he's streamable. Just throw him in there. He's going to get you 5 targets, 4 catches, 20 yards. If he gets a touchdown, he's useful.
Leave it to the Cowboys to be that crazy team in the first round that takes Colston Loveland.
If they do that, Jake Ferguson managers are going to be very mad.
That's going to be Jerry Jones just being like, here's a wrench.
Yeah. It's going to be like when Michael Mayer drafters were like, just because Bowers is there doesn't mean Mayer's not useful anymore. It's like, no, it does.
He's pretty well out of the offense.
Yep. All right. I think a couple names I'd like to bring forward are points per game king, Ben Johnson love, and how long was Johnny Smith a flash in the pan?
As long as Johnny Smith is on the Miami Dolphins, he will be a streamable and a viable fantasy asset. The second he goes to any team that is not the Miami Dolphins, he is in the please help category.
So we got 1 more year, baby.
So enjoy him while he lasts. That's all I'll say.
Just throwing absolute shade at the tight end 5 in points per game last year on 111 targets. No respect.
Okay.
No respect. If you guys want to see my write-up without Evan ruining everything, that'll be over at Last Word on Sports, probably tomorrow or the next day. That's where you should get your rankings. This is just Evan ruining my night. Cole Kmet should be there. I'm just gonna throw all of them up there. Like, let's just at least those 2. Cole Kmet has been a top 10 tight end. I've deep dove what a rookie quarterback does to his pass catchers. It ends up going poorly. I've watched the Bears organization. It normally goes poorly, but now they have a coach that we can believe in. They have a quarterback that a lot of people still believe in, me included. Keenan Allen's leaving. Allegedly, we talked about how that would be a bad fit for what Cole Kmet does. If Keenan Allen goes somewhere else, I could see him, adding 20 to 30 targets, throwing a couple of touchdowns. Caleb Williams gets a little better. We're talking about Cole Kmet possibly being able to move up into a much higher place. Still only 26 years old.
All right. Well, streamable, this is also going to be the Harold Fannin Jr. and the Elijah Arroyo tier.
Okay.
We have a tight end that has the body control of a wide receiver, has tight hips, isn't quite as fluid as a wide receiver, so he is most definitely a tight end, but he has the body control of a wide receiver. And then you have the wide receiver that just so happens to be playing tight end in Elijah Arroyo. And he's not just like a big wide receiver. He's like a 6'1", 205-pound wide receiver when you watch him run. Because he runs and runs and runs, and he outruns safeties. He outruns linebackers relatively easily. You put a safety on him, he's a mismatch from the size. He is going to be that weapon that offensive coordinators are going to look at and go, man, this is a toy for my offense.
Yep.
Like, I can cause so many headaches for a defensive coordinator, moving him around, using him in line, using him in the slot, running him up the seam, running him out in the flat, getting the ball in his hands. Like, just one of those weapons that maybe his career ends up like Noah Fant. And I'll be very sad because I love Noah Fant coming out of college. But he has athleticism for days. And that's what he's going to thrive on. He's going to thrive on the big play. He's going to thrive on his ability to win deep against safeties. And that hopefully is going to do it. Harold Fannin is going to rely on his ability to make catches using his body to be able to block out the DBs, to be able to block out the linebackers, block out the safeties, to be able to get the separation using his body control, to be able to go get a ball in an open space that you go, how does a tight end contort his body like that?
Yep. A lot of people think I'm a Harold Fannin hater. I do extremely respect his body control, and hands catcher, long wingspan, uses the entire frame. I think he kind of moves like a robot, but not in a good way. All right.
He is a converted safety, Mike. Let's give him some slack, all right?
Safeties are supposed to be able to flip their hips. I don't think his hips can move. Those hips don't lie. Shakira was right. All right. Wow. This feels gross. While I'm scrolling through this, if you're here right now, we really appreciate you watching. We're trying to grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers, so maybe YouTube could throw us a couple bones every once in a while. You just hit like and subscribe, share with a friend, share it with your mom. She would love to see it. I know she's in the Dynasty streets, but all in all, God, these tight ends are gross now. I would like to end the streamable tier. Or do you want to put Gunnar Helm there?
I want to. No, I don't. Yeah, let's end it. All right.
All right. So we've got Gunnar Helm in the Please Help. We've got Dalton Schultz in the Please Help. They're the same person. The thing with Gunnar Helm is that I know he's going to be a good tight end for real life. So he's going to stick around the league for a while. If he ends up in a Cowboy situation, if he ends up in a Texan situation, if he ends up somewhere where they just need bodies to play tight end and catch the ball, he will be productive. If he goes somewhere where he is the number 2 tight end or they only use him on blocking downs, it's going to be tough. So I have him ranked right now ahead of Fannin Jr. because I think there is not a way that Gunnar Helm flames out of the league in 3 years. But Fannin does have way more upside, so I may flip that as we get closer to draft day. Want to see some athletic testing? Real quick on that, Elijah Arroyo not going to test at the Combine because he's still dealing with a knee injury from the Senior Bowl. Sports Illustrated called him, quote, potential first-round pick.
Everybody's a potential first-round pick at this time, Mike.
Potential first-round pick, Evan. Potential first-round pick, Mike. And potential first-round pick, never. Who else would you like to bring into the Please Help? Isaiah Likely?
Oh, I would love to put Isaiah Likely in the Please Help. I think Elijah Arroyo is a better version of Isaiah Likely.
I like that comp.
So, he is the receiver that really shouldn't be a tight end, but he doesn't fit as a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So he's arguably positionless, but he's big enough to be able to hold up enough as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have an offense that's going to be able to creatively use him to be able to get him open without getting his body absolutely killed in the trenches, because he shouldn't be in the trenches play in, play out. I think it's really interesting that people seem to be drafting Isaiah Likely super high for what his production has been and what it likely will be.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are going to be holding the bag wondering what the heck happened to my Likely shares.
I would like to formally apologize to anybody that I told you that Mark Andrews was cooked. Maybe the tightrope surgery in the car accident had some lingering effects, and Isaiah Likely was he is the tight end handcuff, which I didn't expect to be a thing, but he is the only one that I know of. Maybe Noah Gray for Kelsey, but if Andrews is out, Likely to the moon. If Andrews is active, Likely is playing a 40% snap share and 3 targets. So I would like to put up another pair of wonder twins, Jatavion Sanders and Chigo Okonkwo. Would you like an athletic guy in an offense that you're not really sure what's going on and not sure who the pass catchers are, and like maybe the quarterback can turn it around? And we've seen glimpses of hope, but we're not quite sold yet. People are more sold on Bryce Young than Will Levis, as they should be, but maybe they put it together. Maybe they finally become the yards after the catch monsters that we thought they would be coming out of college. Or maybe they completely get relegated to that 50% snap share because they're not very good run blockers, and sometimes you get the ball in their hand, and it's awesome. It's sick. It's a super cool highlight. But they have 2 catches for 45 yards and no touchdown, and you're sad.
Yeah, that would make me quite sad, Mike. Both undersized.
Yep.
Both tight ends that could have been wide receivers.
Yep.
These are both in horrible offenses.
These are the downside comps for Elijah Arroyo and Harold Fannin.
Sure. So. But they're still in the league.
That they are. It has been one season for JT.
And a couple for Chig.
Hey, he maxed his RuneScape account, and honestly, that's more important to me than any tight end ranking. Come on, let's bump Chig up a little bit.
There we go. Taysom Hill, once again, is a please help. Can he just stay healthy for an entire season?
No.
Can we ever get a full season of Taysom Hill?
Never.
Also,
he's too powerful.
He very well may be a cap casualty this year for the Saints. Because I don't know how they do it, but every year they find a way to get under the cap.
The work is mysterious and important. All right,
they're going to have to pay the piper eventually. And Taysom Hill is 36 now, or going to be 36 at the season.
Evan, I have bad news.
Uh-oh.
They cannot. Cutting him helps nothing.
Oh, well.
They would save.
It's a post June 1st cut, if I remember correctly.
If they cut him post June 1st, they would eat $17 million in dead cap over the next 2 years. But they'd save 10.2 this year.
All right. I mean, 10.2 is not nothing. Obviously, Derek Carr is still there, and Taysom is best used not as a quarterback. So hopefully Derek Carr continues to play.
Oh, brother!
I think I just threw up, Mike.
We will not root for Derek Carr on this podcast. That is my only rule.
All right, Hunter Henry also deserves to be up there.
Yeah, Drake May rules. The receivers suck. He's gonna score 6 touchdowns again and be a tight end 16.
Yep,
sick.
Welcome to cobbling together a tight end room when you decided to not take one of the top 7 guys.
Yep.
How many do we have up there? 8 guys.
There's
6,
9.
top 9
we feel good about. 15 we're like, they're all right.
Moral of the story, go get one of those 9 guys.
Go get these ones. These ones are good. Very excited for what these two do. And then like these 3 maybe could hop their way on up there and be enjoyable. I think we're giving Tucker Kraft a little too much shade. I think the Pat Fryermuth, K-Dot, and Wonder Twins are fine. That's the nicest thing I could say. All right. We have the classic post-Zach Ertz life. I should make a post-Zach Ertz tier, and it's just all of the guys that sat behind him for a little bit and then ruled. When Ertz was out, Sanat was used in his role a little bit more. When Ertz was back, Sanat faded into the mist. So I think Bates is their blocking tight end who's going to get the majority of snaps, regardless of who the pass catcher is. Sanat was truly just sitting behind Ertz, learning under him, which is a good thing. Super athletic, able to move all over the field, liked him pre-draft, solid draft capital. We just need to see a little more.
Please help on Jawan Johnson.
Sure.
Who is going to catch the balls for the Saints once Olave and Shaheed go out again, because neither of them can seem to play a full season. Came into the league as a wide receiver. I actually think he is a solid comp for Harold Fannin Jr.
I'd take that.
So, yeah, I mean, if you have a Jawan Johnson career out of Harold Fannin Jr., people are going to be very upset.
Yeah, as they should be. This was the most productive college tight end we've ever seen. Unfortunately, he moves fine. He is more athletic than I am, which is a very low bar. Let's throw. I have a real gross one that I'd like to bring up again. I will never quit. The tight end 18 in targets last year, Tyler Conklin. Look, the offense stinks. I get it. I completely get it. I can't even find Conklin on Dynasty or a fantasy calc because he just does not register to people. But look, if you're getting targets, you're getting catches. If you're getting catches, you're useful to me. He just never. Oh God. I'm pulling up his stats now. Tyler Conklin had 72 targets. Kyle Pitts had 74. Tyler Conklin had 51 catches. Kyle Pitts had 47. They both had 4 touchdowns. Tyler Conklin played 1 less game. Tyler Conklin had more targets per game than Kyle Pitts.
The pain. The absolute pain.
All right. I'm just going to start pulling some pictures of rookies. Are there any other guys that you want to talk
about? No, not really. I mean, you talk about tight ends that could actually make a difference for your fantasy team. Yeah, this is one of the stronger tight end classes that we have seen from a rookie draft in a long time. But that doesn't mean that there's still a ton of them that are really going to actually make a difference. So let's remember that. Let's keep it in mind. You could make an argument maybe Mason Taylor can be on this please help list. He's going to be drafted somewhere. He has NFL bloodlines. He played at LSU as a true freshman. These are all things that you want to be able to see. These are all things that you expect out of a tight end that gets drafted to the NFL. So, but he's not very explosive.
No, we comped him to the Tyler Lockett of tight ends. He gets open, very good at catching the ball, like soft hands. A lot of positives to take away from Mason Taylor's game that he can stick around the league for a while. Just he's not going to be the George Kittle turning 70 catches into, 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's going to be turning
70 catches into 500 yards.
He's going to do the Tyler Conklin thing, just hopefully on a better offense. We'll see how draft capital shakes out. I could see Gunnar Helm, Mason Taylor, or that guy that I just added, Aronde Gadsden. Any of them could move up. Evan, I know you're chuckling, but these are the consensus top guys in the draft. They need to go somewhere with a need. None of these guys are going to show up and just eat somebody's lunch. I think a healthy Arroyo could eat someone's lunch and be the move receiver or move tight end for them. I know that anybody taking Loveland or Warren is going to have a plan for them. Like Taylor, Gadsden, Helm, they'll stick around the league for a while. They could be fine. Throw them on your taxi squad, see how they turn out. Cool. I don't want to talk about tight ends for another year.
Tight end gets gross. Like we said, you have the top 9. You can make an argument you have the top 6 really for Dynasty. And then you have an additional 3 if you're a win now team. If you're a rebuilding team, though, you really only have the top 6 to be able to go after and have reasonable confidence that you're going to get production out of the tight end position. So we're really banking on this draft and landing spots that help these guys to be able to pan out. Looking ahead to next year, nowhere close to this year.
Not even
as it sits, as it projects right now.
Let me pull up some of the draft eligible tight ends.
Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky come to mind right off the.
We're praying Oscar Delp turns it around. Jack Velling out of Michigan State. Max Clare.
Going to Ohio State. He was the only bright spot on that Purdue offense. So he has
a quarterback. Sorry, I was thinking of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no.
Same colors.
The only bright spot on that offense, which is really sad to see him go to Ohio State, who barely uses tight ends.
So here we're talking about there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 guys in this draft we could feel good about. I am currently at tight end 4 in next year, and we have gone to Hayden Hansen, the 6'8" blocking tight end.
Oh boy.
Go get a tight end this year. A real quick recap for our audio-only listeners. We have Brock Bowers, Trey McBride in the top. We have Sam Laporta, Tyler Warren, Hawkinson, and Loveland in the second tier. These aren't in order. We could have argued way more about order. That's fine. Win now buys Kittle, Andrews, Njoku, Startable or Hopium, Cade Otton, Pat Fryermuth, Kyle Pitts, Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, and our sweet prince, Travis Kelce. Streamable, which we may need to change the name of that because some of these guys could end up startable. Evan Ingram, the Dallas Cowboys tight end. Say what you will. It's whoever is a warm body there. Jonnu Smith, Cole Kmet, Dallas Goedert, Harold Fannin, and Elijah Arroyo. And then in Please Help, it is a cluster of names. Hop over to the YouTube to look at all the videos. Thank you for listening. Evan, anything else on Dynasty tight ends?
Nothing else on Dynasty tight ends, but I love you, Mike.
Aw, I love you too. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the Goblins get you.